Hey, what's up, folks? Welcome back to On Texas Football. Welcome back to our Friday live stream, a Football Friday live stream here on OTF. I'm Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers. Pleased to be joined by fellow Lifetime Longhorn, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Bobby Burton, and the estimable Jerry Hamilton as well. Guys, we'll take all your questions, your comments, throw them out there. We'll try to address as many of them as we can. Super chats always jump to the front of the line. You can interrupt the show at any time. We're going to talk about the ratings that are out, TV ratings for that Texas A&M game. We're also going to get into some discussion about the coaching carousel, some of the newest additions to that coaching carousel. We'll also dive into what may be kind of a landmark moment in college football, with a college football program fighting back against the player empowerment movement, if you will. That's the best way I can describe it. I think it's going to be good. But anyway, we'll get into all of that. How you guys feeling, first and foremost? We also got to talk about, I think, what is maybe affecting Texas, the big news affecting Texas the most right now, before we dive into some of the other topics, is the scholarship increase, guys. It was today, SEC presidents voted to increase the number of maximum scholarships available to football rosters from 85 to 105. Ross Dellinger reported this earlier today. As part of the House settlement, schools are permitted to increase scholarships to 105 in football, but the SEC last year remained at 85. What's the domino effect of this, guys? What are your thoughts, Jerry? You first. What are your thoughts about how this is going to affect not only college football but obviously Texas, and how they will use this new advantage? I would think.
Well, I think it'll be interesting to see how many of these schools actually go to 105, because I don't think everybody will necessarily. They're permitted to increase scholarships to 105. I don't think that means everybody will. Let's say people add 10 more spots, though.
Yeah.
Where does that actually come from? Do you go to most people think, oh, it's just extra high school guys. What if you look at some kids that have played a year or two in the FCS level and say, look, if we give this guy an additional year of development, he might be a really good special teams player for us, a good backup player for us, because I think the toughest thing with rev share is going to be keeping your depth as blue blood programs, because now if school X, say Maryland, comes in and says, hey, third, second and a half team offensive lineman, you can come start over here. What do you want to do? So I think it'll be interesting to see which direction guys go, Bobby. I think everybody just thinks, oh, it's just going to be extra high school guys you sign. I'm not so sure about that. It'll be interesting to see which lane some of these colleges take for getting up closer to 105.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether or not to walk-ons and what that looks like. Does everybody on your team now have to be theoretically a scholarship player? Because scholarship limits are going to go to 105 as well, is my understanding. We'll see what that means. I don't have the answer to this. I don't think that. Here's one thing that's for sure. All 105 do not need to share in the NIL rev share portion of the agreement.
Right.
And so I don't think that it's going to necessarily affect the top portion of the roster. To Jerry's point, it could give you more leeway to sign more players. And Sark even mentioned that on signing day. He said, look, we only have 85 scholarships. This could have been a lot more. But until they make that decision, we can't oversign and then get it going. And here we are 2 days later. And of course, it looks like the SEC is doing just that. I'm of the opinion that more is better. And so I'm fine with all of this. I would add this to the discussion that it's ironic somewhat that this comes out today, one day after the SCORE Act basically gets shelved in Congress. And what was the problem with the SCORE Act? Well, there were multiple, but one of them, and probably the loudest voice that resonated the most, came from women athletes. And so here in the SEC, Texas has done a remarkable job of and has been ahead of the the rest of college sports, in my opinion, of creating opportunities for female athletes at large on the campus. So the numbers there are not as big. But look, I think that when I think about it, Rod, I see a situation where Texas has to now see what goes on elsewhere and how they handle these 85 scholarships to 105.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see that what Texas is, what their thought process is, and if they're aggressive with this new scholarship limit, or if we see Texas, like you said, Jerry, they decide no, 85 is fine. Yeah, they don't need to. And I want to see what happens to walk-ons. I agree that the walk-on, is that something that is kind of goes by the wayside as a result of scholarship limits now in the modern age of college football.
And to what Bobby was talking about as well, one, I agree with Buddy Powell, Chief Big Guy. The G5 teams are totally hosed by this in football now.
Oh, that's a great point.
I mean, now you've got your two power conferences at 105. Good luck. That's why they just need to move on to a spring league, and there needs to be separation here. The other thing is, from a university standpoint, while the number goes from 85 to 105, kind of the SCORE Act from the women's side, if Texas took football from 85 to 105, they'd have to add another women's sport more than likely. So do all these universities actually want to do that? Because if you were to add 20 scholarships to football, that's a whole nother sport you have to add on the women's side from Title IX.
Yeah.
That's what'll be very interesting to me. I'm not like, if you're Texas, if you say, all right, so we can get you up to 95, then we maybe add 2 more scholarships at a couple of sports where there's room potentially, instead of adding another sport from the women's side. But look, there's limits on that too. So if you go all the way to 105, a lot of these universities are going to have to add another women's sport. Now, some of them, if they don't have beach volleyball, that's the sport that's growing and probably the cheapest. I could see that being one to help from that perspective.
Yeah, because Texas has the beach volleyball and regular volleyball.
Gymnastics.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. No, it's interesting. It's definitely something. I think Bobby may have a good point about the timing of the announcement as well. All right, before we get to some of the things, that we do have a couple of super chats I want to get to. Here you have Juan. Thank you, Juan, for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Says, are we done with the 2026 recruiting now? I know Brandon Harris did hint on LHN. I was there that they weren't done. Sark also implied they weren't done. I do wonder now, kind of what are we 24 hours removed from those comments, if now things have changed, if enough has transpired now, where is Texas actually done?
Yeah, from a 2026 prospect standpoint, there ain't a lot left out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Now what I've been saying is I haven't just been, when I look into those type of comments, and even before those comments, when we're talking about 2026, when does it actually end? The thing I continue to look for in recruiting now is there's more 2027s or junior kids that are trying to classify up. So that's the thing I'm always watching nowadays. And I don't have any names for anybody or anything for sure going to happen, but I can guarantee there will be a few more 27s that reclassify to 26. And now with moving the 105 scholarships, that gets more interesting. So that's the thing I'm watching for in late recruiting as far as the 2026 cycle. Who are some kids that behind the scenes may be trying to get to 2026 from 27? That's the thing I'm watching next.
And I think it's safe to say in that category, Jerry, that won't happen in the next week or two.
No,
that's a February signing potentially.
Yeah.
So for 2026 in this class, I do believe they're done on the high school ranks. I mean, I believe everything's full bore ahead for the portal.
Yeah. Is it possible that when Brandon Harris said that he was confident that something could have happened and then things changed?
Well, I think, and Sark said it too. What just
I said it too, yeah.
I mean, it was both of them, and they both were attempting to. They knew they were involved with Jalen Lott and Chris Henry at that time.
Exactly.
Not just one, but both.
No.
So and they were clearly. And so while it's, it's one thing to talk about that, I think that that's part of what that situation was. They had an opportunity and Jerry knows this one, to re-engage with a defensive back down in Houston and did not choose to move on that. But I think that they're getting ready. I've said this, guys, they're all in for 2026. And that means the portal come hell or high water. So get ready for it. And, that means all of the permutations humanly possible, one of which we heard about today, and not by Texas's choice for sure, right? Trevor Gooseby being ranked 15th overall by an NFL draft guy. Tell me that doesn't maybe change the calculus for Trevor Gooseby and his family.
It does. That's something we also want to talk about too, because I agree with you, Bobby. I don't know if anybody saw him being ranked that high, but a lot happened after that A&M game, actually, and we'll get into it. But first, we got to tell you about our lead sponsor. Bobby, would you do the folks?
They're still
Rod's going to enjoy it more than me post game here.
That's how we roll, baby. Yeah.
Garage Beer Light and Lime with 95 calories, 3 grams carbs, and only 4% ABV. It is beer-flavored beer. This is beer the way it should be. Cold, crisp, easy. That's Garage Beer. No gimmicks. There's Garage Beer Light and Lime with 95 calories, 3 grams of carb, and again, only 4% ABV. It is beer-flavored beer. Love it, man. Good stuff from the folks at Garage Beer.
All right, thanks to our friends over at Garage Beer. All right, Bobby brought it up before we get back to the super chats, guys, and keep them coming. We'll appreciate it. We'll get to them in just a second. But Bobby brought it up. Matt Miller earlier today, I believe, came out with his top 50 board for the 2026 NFL draft, and he had 2 Longhorns actually in his top 50. He actually ranked every position's top 5 later on in this piece, but he had Trevor Gooseby, which Bobby showed you, ranked at 15th overall. Not second tackle, all right, in this top 50, but number 15 overall in his top 50 board. Like I said, I don't know how much he rises or drops after, this is really the infancy of this process, as you guys know. But I remember looking at an article, an ESPN article, and out here I'll pull it up because it was, it was actually Mel Kiper, and they were talking about the best, basically the best NFL draft, the NFL draft worthy players from that Texas A&M game, the guys who were draft eligible, I should say. And the guy they brought up who was most impressive, Mel Kiper, was Trevor Gooseby. He said, of all the prospects on the field during the Texas A&M game, he had Trevor Gooseby as the most impressive prospect. I think he threw Jack Indries was another guy actually they threw out there too. And Matt Miller threw out Trevor Gooseby as well. But this right here is a game changer because you're in the top 2 rounds, guys. That's not only serious consideration. That's most of the people would advise you to go.
A lot of wampum. A lot of money. So basically there's 2 things to think of here. One is it's Matt Miller and people like that talking about it. He'll get a response from the NFL, and he'll clearly ask that. He has an agent already. They'll absolutely run their checks. I'm sure they'll talk to Texas as well as part of this process. I don't know what to say here because we don't know what the outcome will be or what is legitimate. I mean, Matt Miller is a respected guy. Don't get me wrong, but he's not a general manager of a college or of an NFL team either. And so we'll see exactly where this goes. If other people start putting him in their top 15, top 20, I think then it becomes a consensus about that. So we'll see. I mean, guys, they have to be prepared. Texas Personnel Department has to be prepared for all of this. And so that's not surprising to me. there was a possibility this could happen early in the season. Jerry and I talked about it in the preseason that he's prototypical. For me, it would be consecutive drafts where Texas offensive tackles go in the first round.
Yeah.
Correct.
And so the idea that Texas no longer produces offensive linemen can go out with Kyle Flood can go out the window because one of them was a 5-star.
Yeah.
Thanks. Trevor Gooseby was not.
Yeah.
So you can start talking about that, but something to consider.
And that this would put you under a lot of pressure in the portal.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they go because that's the thing with the portal opening January 3rd. Texas can't take maybe. Well, we'll see what he does. They're going to need an answer.
Mm-hmm.
This is where the portal window, not having a spring portal window, gets interesting. Is guys that have draft decisions to make on your roster because they can't. They're going to have conversations with the Gooseby family and the agent pretty quick on this. Like, hey, what are we thinking here? Because you have one shot to replace a starter like this in the portal. Not two anymore, one. So they're going to have answers pretty quick.
This is when it actually does help to have relationships in the NFL that Sark does, even though that leads to a lot of rumors and conjecture at times, because you can really reach out to NFL GMs like, hey, man, I need to know. I reach out to 3 NFL GMs and say, hey, guys, you guys actually have this guy as a first-round tackle? I need to know. And they'll give – I mean, sure, they have, relationships that are pretty intimate and, you could get some real good information that, oh, no, we have them that high. So then you talk to them, you talk to the NFL side, you talk to the agents. Like Jerry said, you talk to the parents. And then as a program, you got to make a decision. And I don't know, like I said, Matt Miller is, like you said, Bobby, he's one of the best in the business. But you got to go get more intel to give you a better picture about what's going to happen. But you got to plan for the worst. And the worst would be for Texas, the best for Trevor Gooseby, that he is ranked as a first-round prospect at tackle. And you're going to lose, 3 starters potentially on your line. Something like that. Which,
by the way, on that list,
maybe 4 now.
Again, yeah, exactly. Again, by the way, that back-to-back years, you've lost 3 to 4 starters on the old line.
Yeah. By the way, on this list, Anthony Hill was 30. Then in some of the position groups, DJ Campbell, number 5 guard.
Yeah.
Jack Injuries, I think 5 tied in of draft eligible guys. So it's crazy to think about. I mean, you don't want Gooseby to leave, but if he's a first rounder, he should. I've always said that, and I'll always say that. But Texas might creep up towards 9 or 10 draft picks again this year if they get unlucky or guys rise up the boards like this and the decision's taken out of their hands. We'll see.
I've always been if you're in the first 2 rounds, you can go. I mean,
I agree.
The money now is just so in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah,
big money now.
Second rounders nowadays are getting old mid-first round money.
Yes. And by the way, they come in with money because of NIL now.
That's right.
So they're not even as desperate as they used to be as second rounders, where the franchises would almost, because they basically cut your guaranteed money in half once you get to the second round. That's why a lot of coaches, they love second round picks. You can get some first round caliber players there, but usually those guys are pretty desperate to sign their contracts coming out of college. Not in the NIL era. Guys aren't desperate. They'll hold out for a little bit. Like, no, I got money. I'm good. I'll wait till mid training camp to come in. And so that's why you've actually had kind of historic historic delay of second round picks in, I think, last year that we're signing. And I think that'll continue to be the case. So first 2 rounds, just go.
So to Rod's point, we're hitting on, if people haven't kept up with how the NFL contracts have increased in recent years, the first pick in the second round of the 24 NFL draft contract was $9.810 million.
Yeah, you good.
And the last pick of the second round was 6.3.
You're fine.
Good. Congrats to you and good luck to you in the future.
Exactly. Like that. Yeah, no question. All right. Good stuff there, guys. All right, let's get back to the super chats here. How about this one from Bald Father Betts? Wants to know thank you for the super chat, by the way, Ball for the best. What happens if you don't have 5 ranked conference champions?
It's still the highest ranked. So it could be number 27. That's how that works.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to be. They don't have to be within the top 25 college football playoff rankings. It can be at any number. So you still take the top 5 ranked conference champions.
Okay. All right. Thanks for the clarification there, Bobby. Thank you for the super chat ball for the bets. AJJ_sports. Thank you for the super chat. Says, how real is the Allen Clark to LSU smoke? Oh, yeah.
He's from BR. And he's a BR guy, for one. And that was a big part of why Texas brought him onto the staff last year, is those Louisiana and Southeast ties he has. How real is the smoke? I can't speak to that.
Can't speak to that. He does have a buyout in his contract.
Yeah.
So, obviously, though, if you're willing to commit $100 million to your head football coach, that buyout may not be very large. In comparison. So it probably depends on how badly you want that person, and we'd have to wait and see what that looked like.
All right. Yeah. Thank you for the super chat, AJJ_sports. Yeah. When home calls and it's a good opportunity coming back home, that's always a threat, no matter who the coach is at any level. And that's what's happening with Allen Clark. All right. Mr. Major DOB says, any chance of Bo Davis coming back? There's a 2025 drop-off at D-line. Agree? Did we see positive influence of Coach Akina in 2025?
No, I mean, look, Kenny Baker's a tremendous coach, first of all. Kenny Baker's a tremendous coach. I don't see that happening. I mean, Kenny Baker's always in demand in the NFL. That's the only way a D-line position would open at Texas.
I'm just going to say this. Did we really see a drop-off at DL?
I don't think so.
Nobody thinks that there was no defensive tackle out there that you said, oh, he looks like Alfred Collins or Vernon Broughton this year for them.
Yeah.
I mean, Cole Brevard's not that. Murad Watson was injured. Alex January's young, may eventually develop into that kind of player, but there were no, and I thought their edges probably did they play better this year? I thought so.
I feel like they did. I think the edges were better.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I don't necessarily think that there was a drop off at DL. Maybe interior, but Alfred Collins is a 2nd round pick. Did we see positive influence of Coach Akina in 2025? I think that's a question that's worth asking.
It is.
And I don't know the answer to that. Rod, you're the DB guy.
My thoughts on it would be, I would want to know first, and I have not reached out to Coach Akina, so just full disclosure, I kind of wait till the season's over to kind of reach out to Coach Akina when things slow down for him potentially. But I'd like to know how much influence he has in the coverages with PK there. I would like, because I think Coach Shipley made the comment. I agree. I mean, Coach Akina has been 4 years when I was playing under him, and most recently when he was at Arizona, they play a lot of man. They play a lot of man. Like the kind of FU man. Like, we don't even care if we playing man. We playing man. Yeah. And so Texas doesn't do that. That's not what they play. So I do wonder if there is, right now they are still figuring out the compromise between the styles. I do think they cleaned up some things versus A&M. That was a challenge because things were spiraling in that secondary for a couple of weeks, as we all saw late in the season. And I'm glad they bounced back and, started making plays on the football and cleaned up some of those issues. But no, that's a fair discussion. Like I said, my counterpoint would be, and I'll do some investigative research, how much is he involved in actually calling the plays, calling the coverages on the back end? Sometimes that's trusted enough where it's like, hey, the defensive coordinator and play caller, which is PK, feels comfortable enough to be able to coordinate those coverages with the back end, whoever that is. It was Terry Joseph before Coach Akina, and Coach Akina, I think, is in that role now. But that's my only counterpoint to it.
Let me ask y'all about, and this goes beyond Akina, but in the secondary, even with Manny Muhammad, okay, and Manny Muhammad was not on that list of top 5 corners, correct?
No.
Yeah. So let me ask y'all this: were any of the DBs at corner like prototypical man corners in y'all's opinion, other than Cade Phillips?
Cade Phillips is that guy,
and he's a true freshman. And I mean that as no disrespect to Manny, Muhammad, or Jalen Gilbo, but those guys. I mean, how often did Texas play corners this year of other SEC teams that were much larger than what Texas put on the field and more handsy, long-limbed?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you go and try to play that, I think that's part of the question too, right? Is, do you have the guys to play that defense that you want to play? Kobe Black is probably in that category.
I about to say they're recruiting more of those guys. That's the younger guys. But that was the whole. I remember we had shows about this. We actually we had shows about they're recruiting different types of athletes at the cornerback position because they want to play a little bit more aggressive man coverage, and because they're pretty much strictly a zone team. They're probably 80+% zone coverage for the most part under PK, and they want to be able to play more man, not strictly man. They're not going to go just straight man across the board. Nobody does that, but they do want to play more of it. I think they want to go to maybe 25 to 30% man, something like that, right? Especially in critical moments, critical situation, third down, red zone, stuff like that. And I think they want to play press man in some situations too, which they are. I think they did a little bit later on when Cade Phillips was out there. So I do think those body types, they're recruiting them for a reason. They just haven't made a shift. And I don't know, it seems like it's going to be gradual. Most things with PK are, and maybe we started to see it toward the end of this season. I mean, who knows? Because Cade Phillips is just your star. I mean, Grayson Lewison also is pretty good in man coverage. I like Grayson Lewison in man. I mean, look what he did against Ohio State in that wide receiving core. I actually like him in man coverage. I know he gave up some stuff, but that's just because I think he got targeted more than anybody else in the secondary, him and Gilbo. Gilbo, because he was kind of a liability at times. Grayson Lewison was because he's a freshman. You're going to target any freshman at any situation. But I like those two guys, Cade Phillips and him. And then you find the other corner, if that's going to be Kobe Black. I like his frame to play corner, to play a little more man coverage. I don't know if he got the freaky twitch for it.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Like some guys got the freaky twitch to play man, and that helps to be able to do that. That's Cade Phillips, I think, has some of that too. Like he's got freaky traits physically. That helps you play man coverage. If you don't have freaky traits physically, it's hard to go out there and just be able to match up man to man against elite caliber athletes on the outside. Like that's tough to do.
By the way, on the Lyle and Clark thing, I want to add this. That whole thing, that whole chatter is going to be dependent on if Blake Baker gets the Tulane job. Because Kevin Peoples is the edge coach at LSU. And the thought is he would go with Baker if Baker gets Tulane and move up in the coaching ranks there in terms of his
coordinator or something.
Yeah, have bigger role. So that's what that's going to – like if Baker gets – who's a Tulane grad, by the way. If he doesn't get the job and Baker stays on as the DC at LSU, Peoples is expected to be the edge, stay on as the edge coach at LSU. So that will be, I think, dependent on all the Lyle and Clark talk right now. There's some dominoes that have to fall there.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Also, I will say about the comment about the defensive line. And maybe there being some drop off. I mean, they had multiple D tackles drafted in 3 straight years?
Yeah.
Which I want to say maybe Georgia had done that recently. I mean, not a lot of programs have done that, like 3 straight years. So I'm not saying there was bound to be some drop off, but there was bound to be some drop off. That's a hell of a run to be on, honestly. And those guys are playing in the league. Like Ojimo's playing in the league. Like Alfred Cobb's making plays in the league. So I do think it's just that's a high standard, but the standard is the standard. To give you credit. All right, /Fest93. Thank you for the super chat. Very kind of you. Says just want to show some love. This show always helps me get through my work day. Hook 'em. We appreciate that /Fest. Thank you. That's very kind of you. And the workday hopefully is almost over, and you're about to get to the weekend. That's the weekend.
Yeah, I gotta say, you guys help us get through the workday too.
You're damn right. The fact that yeah.
About 11 o'clock on Wednesday morning, I was dogging it, so I was tired.
But I tell you, it's always fun to come on and talk Texas football with football family. That's always that's that right there. Even though I do get stressed out about stuff, the fact that this can be called the job is, I do feel like I'm cheating. And thanks to you guys for helping us build this thing. All right. Let me thank one of our sponsors before we move on and answer some more questions and also talk about a couple other topics. We want to introduce, also talk about our friends over at the UT Co-op. I got my 40 Acres apparel over here right now. Usually on Fridays for home games, we'd be at the UT Co-op, and they were always so gracious and hospitable. We really appreciate them supporting OTF. And the University of Texas Co-op is a nonprofit, has been serving the Longhorn community since 1896. Every penny of profit directly benefits course material scholarships. In fact, over 7,000 students receive free course material scholarships in the academic year, the most recent academic year. 40 Acres Apparel also was born in DKR, designed and built exclusively for the University of Texas and Longhorn Nation. If you go down to University of Texas Co-op, you'll see a nice section there for 40 Acres Apparel, or you can go to universityoftexascoop.com and get geared up with 40 Acres Apparel. I've been wearing it for years, folks, even before our partnership with OTF. I love 40 Acres Apparel. It is great designs, fashionable, high quality, SPF 50, moisture wicking. It is an amazing product. You look good and you feel good. And trust me, I end up sweating a lot, so it's breathable fabric. So trust me, 40 Acres Apparel, not only a great product, but also a proud sponsor of course material scholarships for UT students. All right, thank you to UT Co-op and 40 Acres Apparel. Jerry, would you also do us a favor and tell the folks about another sponsor of ours, our good friends over at Vaughn Lane?
Holiday travel made effortless. Into read. Next. Now, look, as football wraps up and Christmas draws near, travel season is officially here. Oh, that sounded good. But it doesn't have to be stressful. It can be relaxing, whether you're headed to Austin, Dallas, Houston for NFL games, Christmas, New Year's trips. Vaughn Lane makes getting there easy. You'll board in minutes at a hotel terminal located just minutes from your destination, and then you settle into one of just 22 oversized seats, more space, more comfort, and no crowds there. Enjoy Wi-Fi, snacks, beverages, and hot towel service on every trip and on select routes. Savor that complimentary meal service delivered right to your seat. Vaughn Lane takes the grind out of regional travel so you can focus on what really matters, the people and the experiences waiting at the end of the ride. Book today at vaughnlane.com and use that code OTF25 for $20 off your first ride. Those Christmas rides are filling up fast. Vaughn Lane, what is it? It's a private jet on wheels. They serve Austin, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, Fort Worth, Plano, the Woodlands, Nashville, Memphis, Atlanta, and Knoxville.
All right. Thank you, Jerry. And thanks to our friends over at Vaughn Lane as well. All right. Let's, we got a super chat here, actually. Slick Rick, thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it. Slick Rick says, is there anyone that can hold down nickel so Littleton can move to safety?
Corner.
Our defense will be better with him at safety. He's too fast not to. Oh, this is an interesting conversation. Most of the discussion, Slick Rick, has been about whether Grayson Littleton isn't moving the corner. If you find somebody to solidify nickel, could he move to corner? Well, we've actually seen him play a little corner this past year. But I will say there are times when they do that 3 high from just the nickel package, when they go with an inverted Tampa kind of 2 look, they actually, with that inverted 3 high, they actually do put him at that safety. He's one kind of usually one of those deep safeties, and they put Taft down as the inverted defender usually. But as a safety, the reason this is interesting because I've talked to guys who've played like all the positions because I'm really interested, and it to me is a fascinating skill set to be able to play every position in secondary. And Quandre Diggs is a primary example. And I always said that Quandre Diggs was best at safety. You go watch where he made the most plays. He made the most plays in the league at safety.
Yeah.
Right, that's where he ended up becoming got in his all Pro Bowl stuff and recognition was at safety. And my theory, I told him this theory too. He actually, I asked him what he liked to play. He said, I like to play nickel because he's an adrenaline junkie, All right, he likes to be in the mix where everything's happening. Nickel, there's never a boring play. At corner, there are a couple of boring plays. I ain't gonna lie to you. They're not gonna throw it to you. It's a run play. Like it's just nothing to do. Safety can be like that too, especially when you're last line defense. And he's like, nah, you just single high safety. You're running down to try to make a play, and it's all whistle blown before you get there. And so he didn't like that, even though he made. And this is my thing about. This is my theory. My theory was that I told us, Quandre, you were better at safety because you're a great football investigator. And at nickel, you're so close to the action, so close to line of scrimmage, you don't get enough clues to solve the play. And at corner, even if you do get all the clues, sometimes it ain't got nothing to do with you. And you looking at obviously look at the formation, the down, the distance, and you're looking at, the personnel they're using, and you're like, oh man, actually on this down and distance, they usually go with a double slant. And they're like, oh, but that's the other side of the field. They're not going to come. So sometimes at corner, you can't even affect a play with your knowledge and intelligence and your football investigative skill. But at safety, you can. You can actually play mind games with the quarterback. You can actually insert yourself into the play. Whether you have that responsibility or not, you can insert yourself into the play. You can go, I know they're going to run it here. I'm not going to cheat. I'm going to come down 4 or 5 yards close to the line of scrimmage and I'm supposed to. Oh, actually, no, they're going to run a double post over to Mills. Oh, I know the cell concept out of this formation. I'm going to cheat. I know exactly what they're going to do. You actually can cheat, and it can help you make plays. And he was a great cheater because he had so much football knowledge. Especially because he grew up with Jammer and he grew up around us.
Yeah.
He grew up in the same secondary I did as a young kid. So with all that football knowledge, he was better at safety because he could diagnose. He had more clues. He could see the entire formation, his vision. He could see the quarterback. He can see everything, and that gave him more clues to solve the play. So is Grayson Littleton that kind of player? I don't want him at safety just because he's fast.
No.
If he's fast, I'd rather him at corner. I want him at safety if he's a football investigator that can help solve the play. And that's why Janae Barron was so good. He actually would insert himself from the corner spot into the play. Out of his 5 interceptions he got his Thorpe Award winning year, 3 of those, he was a secondary defender. He wasn't even the guy getting the ball. He would go, you know what? I know what they're about to do. I'm about to jump this play. I'm jumping this seam route. I'm going for it. He would do it from the corner spot. So is Grayson Littleton that guy? If he's that guy, then maybe you should put him at safety because he helps you kind of improve the overall ecosystem of your secondary. But if he's just fast, I'd rather him at nickel and corner, honestly. That's
yeah.
I
think for college football for Texas, I would like to see him at corner, if not nickel.
Yeah.
Because you can really upgrade your speed if you had Cade Phillips and Grayson Littleton playing opposite at corner. And then you could get 2 years at corner out of Grayson Littleton. Janae Barron, you got 1 year out of corner.
Mm-hmm.
Made the move. I would like for them, from a college football standpoint for Texas, with where their roster currently is headed in the portal season, I'd like to see him play a lot of corner. Because you could put some serious speed at corner in the SEC with Cade Phillips and Grayson Littleton. But it's hard to find a really good nickel.
It is.
Toughest position to play. It's hard to move a guy off nickel who's really good.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
I want to say this. I think that Grayson Littleton, not that he's slight, but I don't necessarily think you want him being a safety running downhill at people.
No.
That would be look, he's good enough. You want him to be on the field at all times. Maybe a move to corner helps that, actually. He's not as asked to stick his head in there quite as much, if that makes sense. But I'm more actually this. I think a really good nickel in college football may be worth more than an above average corner. Now, if he's a great corner, he's worth more. I want to say that. If he's truly a shutdown guy at corner, then he's worth a lot. If he's just above average at corner, I'd rather have him at nickel. I think it's harder to play nickel in college. It is absolutely where people like Steve Sarkisian go hunting for mismatches.
Yep.
And I think he held up really, really well. I still don't. Did he even allow a touchdown pass this year at nickel?
I don't think he did.
I don't either. Because it didn't come in A&M game, and he hadn't before the A&M game.
I can't recall one actually.
Yeah. So my thought on that at least is I would keep him at nickel unless you think he is a great corner. Like Jahdae Barron worked out for them moving him to nickel.
It did
because he was great at corner.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, he would have been more valuable at nickel, in my opinion. But it only worked out to the positive, I think, because he would end up being a great corner.
The guy I would like to see move to safety is Kobe Black if he'd entertain it, because I think he can help. I think he's got the physicality and the size and the length, and I do think he'll make plays on the ball if he can be in position to make plays on the ball. I actually think he would make a lot of sense at safety if he was open to it. That just comes down to if you're open to it.
That's it. Yeah, I don't. Actually, that's not a crazy thing. I think I've heard you say that too, Jerry. That's not.
He's a physical player on contact in the run game.
And then he's a coverage asset. He's a coverage asset no matter who he goes against. Usually at safety, he's going to be a tight end, could be a running back. I like that.
He's never going to be that way as a corner.
No, never. Exactly. And every now and then, you would try to get him matched up on a slot receiver, but that could be obviously a matchup at disadvantage. But that's not crazy, Jerry, because that's kind of what Coach Aquina did when he was there at Texas. Started moving guys around in that secondary and found a way to put your best five out there. And maybe that's the way to do it.
And I know it's easy to say, oh, just get this guy, go get this position in the portal. You got to see what's in the portal first.
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be many situations like LSU last year. And I mentioned that because Monsieur Delane out of Virginia Tech is going to be the first corner taken in the first round or transferred in. A.J. Halsey, the kid out of Fort Bend Marshall, who was at New Mexico, then Houston and LSU, is number 4 or 5 on Matt Miller's safety board. Well, he came to LSU from Houston in the portal. There's no guarantee that all that's going to work out positionally, or you're going to get everybody you want in the portal. So that's going to be interesting. We had a great discussion here, but I think a lot of this could be what's actually out there in the portal for Texas. I think that's going to be very determining a factor on a Grayson Little, what position he plays. If there's some hellacious nickel out there that they can get, that gives you more versatility and flexibility, but there's no guarantee that's happening.
I was going to say, do those guys exist? I mean, do great nickels exist in college football? Or are they like,
yeah.
Are there 5 of them in college football?
Yeah.
That's my thought process. There's not 25 of them. I know that much.
No. Yeah. It's just a tough position to play. It's getting tougher too, because that's like you said, Bobby, that's one of the places that great minds like to attack anyway, because they're in constant conflict. Run support and then obviously in the passing game too. All right, good stuff there. Thank you for the super chat.
I have one last thing. I want to remind folks about this, what I was told about Grayson Littleton too, and another reason why I think he's better at nickel. He has the potential to be a great nickel, so you don't want to take him out of that spot unless you think he's going to be a great corner too. He plays the slot fade extraordinarily well. And that is not a lot of people do. And people try to play home on that this year, and I'm not sure he actually gave much. Have Rod go undercover like Eli Manning and be our next nickel.
Nope.
There you go.
Nope. The slot fade alone would do me.
The slot fade alone would get Rod B.
That slot fade would give me, Bobby. You just put the nail on the head right there. All right. Thank you for that, though. Hey, we got a super chat. Let me get this real quick.
No, whoa, a big one. It's got to be a big one.
Oh, no, it's Rod Baber's helmet. Anytime you use Rod Baber's helmet, I got to put it on for him. There you go. Hey, thank you, Rod Baber's helmet.
Great question, by the way.
Rod, I look good back here. Yes, you did, but I got to put you on. Says, at what point is Jonah made to make a decision between football and baseball? That is a good question. Thank you, Rod Baber's helmet, for the super chat. Appreciate it.
My personal opinion on this is it's after next football season. Because here's Jonah's reality as a 2-sport athlete. He will have now, after this year, he goes to baseball soon. Got to get ready for baseball season. He's going to be a starter on the Texas baseball team once again. He's going to miss 2 spring practices in a row since he's been on campus in Austin, unless there's a major change. I think next football, at his baseball season this year, what does that look like from an MLB draft perspective, potentially? And then next year on the football field, what does he look like in year 2 without zero spring practice to get prepared for it? Does he vault ahead as a baseball prospect? I think after next football season may be where his hand kind of gets forced. Because year 2 should be when you make a big jump and really develop as a football player of his talent. But without spring football practice, it's a coin flip for him. It's a coin flip. But I know this, he'll have a lot more on-field experience in baseball than he will football.
I agree with that. And I'm going to say this. I don't know what he made in NIL coming to Texas, but the vast, vast majority had to deal with football, not baseball.
Yeah.
And if financial issues start to become a discussion point, I mean, Texas can't, I can't speak for them and don't want to, because it's obviously between them and Jonah Williams, but dead money exists on a roster if you're overpaying true freshmen, and if you're paying guys that aren't participating in spring practice sometimes. So what does that look like? I don't know the answer. But that'll be for the Williams and Jonah and his family to decide. I just don't know.
The players like, there aren't many of them, right? Kyler Murray's of the world who did play both. When did they?
When he became a starter at quarterback, he was done with baseball.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, it definitely is going to happen at one point. All right, thank you for the super chat there. We appreciate it. How about this one from Rocky Poor? Thank you for the super chat, Rocky. Says, hey, Rod, I saw the Young Bucks cover the drag routes better than anyone all season against the Aggies. Roberson peeled off his man and stopped a drag route for 0 yards at the catch on 3rd down. I remember that one, too. Future is bright. Yeah, I do remember that. And I'm trying to – I don't remember – many, if any, busted coverages. Remember that became an issue later on down the stretch, where literally just guys running wide open, busted coverages. Didn't see many. Remember, you got to clean that up. I mean, that's just, you can get beat, but busted coverages, man. That's my big thing with the secondary was you got to clean up the busted coverages. There's no excuse for that. All right, that's just guys having mental brain farts and not focused. It really is. It's just that simple. All right, or guys not communicating, which also there's no excuse for. So I'm busted coverages, that'll get you benched. I think he did get some guys benched. And don't make plays on the ball. The secondary not making plays on the ball. Then when y'all celebrate? Y'all ain't making no damn plays on the ball. And what they did against A&M, plays on the ball. Lots of PBUs, interceptions, so the DBs can do the celebration dances, the handshakes, everything like that. That's if a DB coach, if I'm sitting there, like that'll be my thing. I'm demanding. No busted coverages, and I'm gonna need y'all to make some plays on the ball now. I'm not going to get on you for getting beat. Everybody gets beat, but you need to go make a play on the ball every now and then. We got to win our fair share. And that's what they did versus A&M. They won their fair share. And like I said, I can't remember if any busted coverage. They did. It weren't maybe 1 or 2, but I can't remember any right now off the top of my head that really, just kind of grinded my gears, if you will. All right. Good stuff there, Rocky Poor. Appreciate that. Yeah, so I think the future is bright. We'll see. Coach Akina, I can guarantee you he getting to work this offseason with the secondary. I can put money on that. Lane, thank you, Lane. Lane T, right? Appreciate the super chat. Says, what does all in mean to y'all? To me, it means being selective in the portal. No need to rebuild, but getting elite guys. All right. What does it mean, Jerry? What are your thoughts about that? All in.
That last part's easier said than done, because everybody wants the elite guys. So the competition is ridiculous, and the leverage those guys are going to have with only one portal period now is even more so than it has been the last couple of years. There's going to be some guys asking for elite money that jump into the portal. And that's always what it comes down to is, could you get 5 guys instead of 2 at elite money and help your team as much or more? That's what it always comes. But I think Texas, what it all means is, look, this is more than likely Arch's last year in Austin coming up, unless he's injured. So going all in means giving this team the best chance to succeed next year possible, to me, whatever that means. I don't think Texas is going to sit there and spend $20 million more in the portal than an Oregon is or somebody like that is. But because everybody wants the elite guys, and there is a cutoff at some point financially.
All right.
I think what does all in mean? It means what it says. I think that Texas is going to go after elite guys if they go in the portal. To Jerry's point, if you think Cam Coleman is going in the portal sight unseen without talking to Auburn first, you'd be wrong.
Yeah.
So just realize that that's part of the process too. These guys just don't go to be going. So,
yep.
I mean, they've got to get past their own internal folks first.
I want to say this. I'm a little different than a lot of people here. I want 2-year players versus just 1-year guys still.
If you could get them.
Yeah. If you told me where to push the chips in, it would be the best 2-year guys that have 2 years left. I know next year is what it is, but I'd take guys that have 2 years. If I had a decision, just me.
Okay. Like
the portal, good players anyways.
Yeah.
Versus elite guys. You could go spend $4 million on Cam Coleman. He could tear his ACL first game of the year. Where are you at? You're nowhere. You're nowhere. I would like to see the best 2-year players that jump in the portal that could help Texas, because I still think of this as more than a 1-year thing personally.
I like it. All right. Thank you for the super chat. And I think some Cowboys fans are, because remember Jerry said they were going all in like last year. So Cowboys fans got some PTSD from all in. But all in for Arch. I'm all about that. Yeah.
So I want to go back to what Jerry said there. So I think Murad Watson's a 2-year guy, right?
Yes.
I think Emmett Mosley is a 2-year guy. Hopefully Brad Spence is a 2-year guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you have to go as many 2 years guys this year as you did last year, Jerry. So I'm gonna fight back while I know you would prefer 2 years, if you get one elite year of an Adonai Mitchell, that's very, very valuable. Does Texas beat Alabama without Adonai Mitchell? Does Texas, does Texas beat TCU without Adonai Mitchell? And so I think there's to my point, in addition to what Jerry's trying to say, I just think there is it's a fine line, because this team still this past year needed more firepower than what it had, in my opinion.
Yeah.
A big time receiver would have given them more firepower. A big time big running back would have given them more firepower.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer though.
Yeah. I just look at it as it's that 1-year guys aren't a guarantee for your program. It still doesn't mean you're getting in the playoffs next year, because your schedule's harder than it was this year. I don't want to make 1-year decisions. I'm not paying Cam Coleman $4 million if he jumps.
No, I don't think he's going to get that though either.
Yeah, but let's say 2. I wouldn't even do that. I think you can get 3 players for $2 million.
All depends on what budget you're working with, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that super chat. Jonah Williams Enthusiast, was super chat here, says, been watching tape from this season. Just hope we all realize what we have in Lance Jackson. He has first rounder all over him. Thank you, Jonah Williams Enthusiast. Yeah, I mean, I do realize what we have in Lance Jackson. Well, I realized when they started playing him early. Like when they played, I was
really
like,
early.
Really
extraordinarily early.
But I was like, oh, so this guy's a dude. In addition to, I believe it's Jerry was kind of breaking him down and how he's what did he say? He was a baseball player at one point too.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's always reminded me of Julius Peppers.
Ooh.
From a size, frame, and athleticism standpoint. And I said it when he was in high school. And I'm not saying he's gonna be a gold jacket guy, but that's who he reminded me of from a size, frame, and athleticism standpoint.
Wow.
But I'm not saying he's going to wear a gold jacket one day. That's not what I'm saying for the people in the chat. I'm just saying from a skill set, from an athleticism and size standpoint, he's got some similarities.
Oh man, I played against Julius Peppers, so man, that dude was. I remember going to the side to go watch him. Like there are certain players who's like, no, I got to get up off the bench. Coach, give me my I got to go watch this dude though. What we doing? We doing some adjustments? All right, I'm gonna go watch this dude though, and see how good he is. Because he was just known as being the biggest freak athlete in college football at the time. Like he was that kind of. I remember that kind of dude.
Yeah. Hey, you know what's crazy though? You would think he had unbelievable stats in college, but he not really. No, he really didn't. So it's more like, what is that guy? But he was a dominant player without having dominant numbers necessarily.
Two-sport guy though, right? Didn't he play basketball?
Yeah, he played basketball.
That dude was. He did look the part though. I don't know what his stat line was against Texas, but he looked every bit like the guy, like a dude, first round, number 1 overall guy. Like he looked like that kind of guy. I remember.
God, he could have been in y'all's recruiting class, just for the record.
Yeah.
He was, I think, initially committed to Mac Brown. Junior in high school.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm pretty sure. Goldsboro, North Carolina. I ranked him a 6.1.
Yeah.
On the National Recruiting Advisor scale back in the day. all it took was, I didn't know what his stats were, but all it took was one of those VHS tapes he sent in, his coach tapes sent in, and he literally looked like he had a wingspan that went on for days, and he was out there moving around like a wide receiver, and I was like, this is not – he played running back in high school.
Yeah. What?
Yes.
It'd be like Derrick Henry out there.
Yeah.
No, that's one of like if you remember this too, he and Henry Melton were on the same defensive line for the Bears at one time.
Yeah.
I mean, those were two high school running backs playing D-line same time.
Yeah.
So Julius Peppers literally had arms.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't even know how to explain it other than they're almost as long as his legs.
Yeah, that's why you had to see it. Like that's why I said I remember guys going, "Nah, I'm gonna go watch Julius Peppers for a little bit and just see this freak."
I mean, if he would play basketball, and basketball is a long-limbed sport. I mean, all those guys, and he even looked like he had long arms compared to those dudes.
You know what's crazy?
He had a lot more muscles with him.
You know what's crazy about him? He redshirted his first year in college.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Carl Torbush, baby.
Damn, man, Mac Brown show can recruit, can he? Oh, good. I did not know that, Bobby. There you go. All right, back to before we get to these last couple of super chats, let's thank our lead sponsor for today's program, my good friends over at Garage Beer. Bobby, would you please do us the honor?
I can do Garage Beer Light and Lime with 95 calories, 3 grams carbs, and only 4% ABV. It is beer-flavored beer the way it should be. Cold, crisp, easy. Garage Beer, no gimmicks. Again, that's Garage Beer Light and Lime with 95 calories, 3 carbs, and only 4% ABV. It is beer-flavored beer. Rod, you're sitting there with the regular pack. I like the lime myself, so there we go.
When this runs out, I'm going to get the lime. I promise you. It's almost out. So I'm just picking up the case. There's like 2 left in there. I should just show it. All right, let's get to these last couple of super chats. How about this one from Buddy Pal Chief Big Guy? You were just talking about this, Bob. He said, what makes the slot fade hard to stop? I think it's just a two-way go. That's probably what makes the slot position or the star position, that slot cornerback so tough, is that receiver has a two-way go. On this, as a cornerback, you have that sideline, and the corners who are smart, they use it to help you out with leverage and to be able to help you defend certain routes where you ain't got to defend the entire route tree because you're right there by the sideline. And that slot with that two-way go, especially with some guys who are quick as they are fast. I hate those guys. And they get in and out of their brace, can accelerate and decelerate really fast. Man, they can, and usually when I'm at corner, I'm tertiary run support, right? I'm not even secondary use. I'm pass first, and then third. Maybe they think about, hey, you got to come up with run support. Usually, even in zone coverage, that's the case. But as a star, as a slot, you are secondary run support a lot of the times. You got to run fit. You got a run fit responsibility. So you actually kind of get sucked into the action at times too, unless you're just playing straight up man, and then straight up man, you got your guy, and then obviously your tertiary run support too, probably, but still secondary because you're so close to the football. So it's just it's tough because there's a lot going on, and that two-way go, it's a mofo. And if you give them too much in your leverage, say I'm gonna take away the outside, I'm gonna take away the inside, man, giving that guy just giving him an easy release. That's what Bobby's talking about. That's why the slot fade is so hard. I can't give that slot receiver just an easy release to go, unencumbered, to go straight down the field, because I'm going to lose that slot fade battle. I have to reroute him. But how do you do it when you only got 5 yards to do it, also with a two-way go?
And he's running to free grass. He's running to open grass on a slot fade. Yep. I mean, the only thing stopping him is the sideline,
which is far away.
Yeah, I know that. That's what I mean, that's 40 yards from the slot.
Yeah.
Or not 30
yards. It's about 25, 30 yards, though, yeah.
In my ESPN Under Armour days, Deion Sanders would walk into the team meeting and say, "Who wants to play nickel on my team?" He said, and whoever raised their hand, he said, "Well, you're the most competitive guy at this game, one, because it's the hardest position to play."
Yep.
Let's go to work. Deion used to make somebody raise their hand who wanted to play nickel, and then he'd say, "You're the most competitive guy then, because it's the hardest position to play."
It's tough. It is, man.
That's coming from Hall of Fame corner.
I agree with him. I played it. I played it before. I kind of played it at the beginning of the spread era. Spread era makes it way tougher than it was at the beginning of my era. So I got a lot of respect for the guys that break out, that start to play that star position. All right, which kind of goes back to Bobby's point. Once you find a good one, usually you don't move that guy. That guy stays there because it's easier to find. Honestly, it's probably easier to find a corner that's capable and competent than a nickel or a slot cornerback. All right, Zane, last question of the day before we get out of here. Thank you guys for all the super chats. Zane _Petty says, over under 2 staff changes this offseason. This is a good question. This is a good question.
Without talking about who it might be, I would have to say even money at 2, because that's basically what it's been for the last 3 years, right?
Yeah.
Each of the last 3 years. Last year,
the guys in the Saints.
Was it Joseph,
Gideon,
and Char Choice.
Yeah.
The year before that, it was Bo Davis and the wide receiver group.
Yeah.
Brennan Marion.
Yep.
I'm going to say over, and it's not because the chat wants people's butts and they want people fired. I'm going over, and I don't think it's because people get fired.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair. It just happens.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. No, it's a good question because Longhorn fans have been talking a lot about that too, and there has been some scuttlebutt, if you will, about that. All right. Thank you guys for all the super chats and all the questions. Sorry we couldn't get to all of them, guys. You guys were fantastic with your participation today. We really appreciate it. Thanks to Matthew behind the scenes doing a great job twisting and tweaking the dials. Thank you, Jerry, for all the expertise and knowledge. Bobby, we appreciate you as well. And thanks to all of our sponsors, by the way. Thank you to our friends at Garage Beer. Thank you as well to the UT Co-op and 40 Acres Apparel, and also our friends over at bondlane.com. And thank you guys for watching and listening. For Jerry, that was one thing from the man. What's up?
Good luck to the women's volleyball team tonight at 7. They play at Gregory Gym. They hope open the NCAA tournament with Florida A&M tonight. Heavily favored, obviously, but it's time for Jared Elliott and his squad to see what they can do with this offseason or with this tournament opportunity.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff there. Thank you, Bobby, for reminding us of that. For Bobby and for Jerry and for Matthew, I'm Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers. Until next time, hook 'em horns.
Hook.